Now, the host of Morning Joe has some pretty harsh words for Debbie Wasserman Shultz and the DNC in general. Now, first we're going to respond to a video of Debbie Wasserman Shultz accusing the Sanders campaign of excusing the so-called violence during the Nevada convention that actually never happened, right? So she said, well, but sounds like Bernie Sanders, he's excusing the violence, even though he actually went on to denounce the violence and then actually called out the problems that created the situation at the Nevada convention anyway. So it wasn't enough for him to condemn violence. Oh, he's just excusing it while pointing out actual systemic problems, actual procedural problems. All right, whatever. So now, of course, Joe and Mika, well, they're going to actually put the blame for the whole thing where it really belongs. Watch.
I mean, that's where it all started. I mean, with with rigging the debates. It all started with rigging the debates.
Nothing, no violence is acceptable. But
no violence is acceptable, and Bernie said that.
This has been very poorly handled from the start. It has been unfair, and they haven't taken him seriously. And it starts, quite frankly, with the person that we just heard speak.
Can I ask, why would...
You own that.
She's right. You can't argue that this wasn't poorly handled. I mean, who was in charge of the debates? Who planned on the times where essentially nobody was watching? Sunday night, Saturday night. What was next? We made jokes about a 3 a.m. debate. It probably almost happened. At times where there was sports games and stuff like that. I'm not big into sports, but very, very inconvenient times. Holiday weekends, man. That worked in Hillary Clinton's favor. So, yeah, the debates are a perfect example of how it was poorly handled. Now, I gotta ask another question. Who worked as co-chair to Hillary Clinton's 2008 campaign? All right. Debbie Wasserman Shultz. Who was the one that's been so unbelievably biased against Bernie Sanders? And against the policies that he believes in. For example, did you know Debbie Wasserman Shultz is in favor of protecting payday lenders? And that's, of course, after getting $68,000 from them in the form of campaign contributions, and this is according to the Center for Responsive Politics. Hey, she loves money in politics. Boy, I just can't seem to understand why she's being so unfair to Bernie Sanders. I don't see the connection. What are you talking about? No, there's a huge connection. Of course she doesn't like Bernie Sanders because of his policy positions and because she's obviously biased towards Hillary Clinton. Now, with that established, Joe is actually going to ask a pretty good question.
Why would Bernie Sanders politely get in line for the Democratic Party?
Because Hillary Clinton.
I sure as hell wouldn't if the party I was a member of treated me like this, rigged the debate process, rigged Iowa, rigged the entire thing going forward. If the Democratic Party, if the Republican Party did, I'd say go straight to hell. I'm running as an independent. I would go out there, because I would be betraying my people. All of those people that gave him $25, $26, $27 to just play nice with the Democratic Party and fold yourself into a convention at the end?
Excuse me.
When the Democratic Party doesn't respect them.
Bernie Sanders has been leading a movement for 50 years. Sometimes that movement has included only himself. But now he has a huge following, people who are actually listening to him, paying attention to him, believe in him and the causes that he has espoused. Debbie Wasserman Shultz is leading a bag job. And there's a big difference between the two. And Bernie, the Sanders campaign, has a legitimate right to be angry over the treatment they've received from the Democratic Party.
He's absolutely right. People are angry, and with good reason. We've not been respected by the Democratic establishment. Now, after being disrespected, you think young people are going to play nice? Especially after being called things like violent, sexist, misogynistic, stupid, gullible, etc., etc. No, we're not. And that's the thing. The Democratic establishment has been so incredibly condescending towards young first-time voters and people, as well as older Sanders supporters as well. Anybody who's a Sanders supporter, whether you're younger, whether you're older, whether you're white, or whether you're Latino, black, Asian, whatever, they have been condescending to you. They've been calling you Bernie bros, labeling you as white misogynistic men in order to paint you old as a fringe. They're alienating you. And it's funny because they need you if they want to win in November if Clinton wins the nomination. But see, here's what they're doing. They're condescending to you, even though they need your vote, because they're acting like they're entitled to your vote. Oh, well, of course they're going to back us. Yeah, of course. I mean, we're going to anoint Hillary Clinton. She's going to win the nomination. And then all those young people that we were so horrible to, that we called sexist and misogynist, they're going to line up to vote for us. Why? Well, they have to. Because you're going to get Trump if you don't. That's their attitude, man. And you know what? There are Bernie Sanders supporters that actually do see Trump as an actual alternative. Now, I disagree with that position, right? But I have people who watch the show, people who comment on our videos, people that talk to me on Twitter, that say, look, like, I support Bernie Sanders, but if he doesn't win, I will vote for Trump. I disagree with that position, but I understand. And here's why some feel that way. They feel as though Trump would actually do less damage because his win would certainly help down-ballot Democrats win back Congress and therefore block some of his crazier ideas. And then there's the thought where Hillary Clinton would basically unilaterally disarm liberals because she's a Democrat, and we'll have the same whole thing that went on with President Obama, where it's like, well, he's going to do right-wing ideas, but he's a Democrat, so we have to support the party. We have to support him, we have to support the party, because the Republicans are so much worse, even though she's doing Republican policies, and he did Republican policies, a la Obamacare. So, I don't know. I get what I get where they're coming from, right? I get where they're coming from. I disagree, but I understand. Now, back to my point about the DNC. They're so absolutely blind. They actually think they're so entitled to our vote that we are just going to fall in line at their pick, especially after everything that's happened. Now, some will. Okay, some will back Clinton. Some will inevitably vote Trump. Some will vote Green. And then some will stay home. And a lot of those are probably just from the independent vote, which Hillary Clinton needs. And that hurts Clinton. That hurts the Democratic Party. It makes her a weaker candidate in the general, and that should be a big concern. And look, here's the other thing, right? People are not going to be so able to so easily forgive the multiple hatchets buried in the back of Bernie Sanders from the Democratic Party, as well as the corporate media. A lot of those people are young, they're first-time voters, and they've got long memories. And if you think they're going to bow down, like the rest of the voters who, I'm sorry to say, you've gotten your asses kicked for 40 years and are now too scared to fight for bold progressive ideas, you got another thing coming. Truth is, we won't stop. The political revolution is only beginning. And here's the important thing. It's not about a politician. It's not about a single political campaign. It's not about a single candidate. It's actually about the future. And guess what? Young progressives, they are that future. They know they've been screwed by the establishment. It's abundantly clear. And they also know that they've been screwed by the economy at large. And you know what? They're going to fight to fix that. Because it turns out that if you fight for progress, eventually you win.